Turner, and I know maybe I'll share this off camera. He's just a savage, and he like scares me how good he is. Welcome to another episode of The Throw Show. We've got a packed show for you today with every single event: hammer, javelin, shot put, discus. We're gonna make some bold claims, and we're going into some of the best performances. The last 2 weeks has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited for it. Trevor, what do you think so far? How's your feeling about the outdoor track season so far?
I think it's just everyone opened massively, and I think it's just, snowballing from there. I think everyone's just starting to gain momentum. I feel like sometimes it's everyone comes out, hits the huge openers, then as that adrenaline and excitement kind of drops off, there's a little dip. But then as people get more experience in competition, it starts just ramping up exponentially. And I think that's the point of the season we're at right now.
I think what's interesting, we talked about this actually a little bit in our business meeting yesterday, was if you watch UFC and they just had their first in-person competition, weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting is doing the same now, and track obviously has had a couple meets, but I think we're going to see massive performances in every single sport now that athletes had that year of taken away from them in their career. They're taking more advantage of competing, and I think that now we're starting to see that athletes have matured quite a bit from that COVID year. So it's interesting to see, and what everybody's going to be capable of doing is we're going to see the human limits pushed substantially. So
yeah.
So we're going to start
including this throw.
Yeah, including this throw. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Rudy Winkler will go down as the greatest American hammer thrower of all time when his career is over. Fight me. And the reason why I'm saying this is he's in phenomenal shape. He's going to do something phenomenal, and he also helped us with the technique aspect of our hammer videos on YouTube. So I really like Rudy quite a bit. So this was 81-98. You should can we put the audio on this? Because I love the actual, you gotta click on I love the just hearing the speed of it and his emotion. You can just feel, it's almost like Lance Deal in 96 when he got the silver medal.
The backup yell. That is a sign of any great throw.
Yeah, no, that's just phenomenal. And I think, yep, I think looking at the state, again, we talked about this on the last show, this is one of the best throws. I think it's the world league currently.
Yes.
He's going to be putting a lot of pressure on a lot of the big-time guys, and he is a big-time guy now. And I think that this could put him in. This is putting him in the medal contention.
Absolutely.
And Rudy, I hope you're watching this because I believe you can win the Olympics, and I'm gonna text you that you can win the Olympics. and this is just the start of it, right? I mean, the start of it was when you first picked up your hammer, but this is just awesome. I love it. This is
the realization of it.
Yeah. All right, so next is our Morgan Shigo, GS alum, goes 75-83.
He's been just going chipping away. He's made the throw show the last 3 or 4 times.
Right,
I think.
Right.
But this puts him at, I forget if he's number 2 or number 3 now.
I think he's 3.
Okay.
I think he's 3 behind Sean Don, and then I think Alex Young is 4. Now McCullough hasn't opened up yet. Wait, Danny Ho might have bumped him down.
Okay.
I think he also threw 75 plus.
Okay.
So, but all those guys, it's crazy.
It's the same thing we've been talking about. Right. The depth of the hammer in the U.S. is just absurd.
Well, and the thing too is Morgan's in a pretty good group right now with training, and I think he's in Iowa. What's the weather like in Iowa? Is it warm? What happens when it's 80 degrees? It's these guys are, you get into some nice weather and all of a sudden everything's going to take off even more.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks good. Everything's progressing well. It's just one of those things where it's going to be an open, when we're talking about the Olympic trials, it's going to be, that competition is going to be, I think, a dogfight for 2 to 5. Those guys are all going to be scrapping. 4 to 5 guys are going to be scrapping for the number 2 and number 3 spot. And then we got Brooke Anderson here.
So 3 77-meter throws, almost won a 78.
And she beat.
I think it's cool to just see the consistency. And yeah, she beat Deanna Price at this meet.
Which is just nuts. And this just goes, we mentioned Deanna and Brooke as the sort of the 2 standards heading into the Olympics. And now you're seeing this, and it's just like, holy cow, 3 throws and 77.
The cool thing is that they're throwing at meets together.
Mm-hmm.
They're clearly pushing each other, and it's like, one might win one week, the other wins the next week, but as a whole, it's pushing them both forward.
And I think, this comp here at Hayward, a lot of people, so Brooke Anderson fell and still went 77 for 3 throws. You watch the women's shot comp. There was, Danielle Thomas-Dodd fell, Jessica Ramsey fell, I think, twice. Somebody else had fallen. Rachel said everybody was slipping. And it's like, this is stuff where you got to think. So Brooke Anderson falls, comes back and puts out 3 throws over 77. So what high schoolers can do is take this as, hey, you know what? There's going to be points when the circle's slippery. We've got to deal with that. You've got to handle that, and you've got to be able to come back and know how to come back and still perform exactly the way she did.
Yeah, I think that's something. Yeah, it's like, a lot of high schoolers, like falling in the circle is probably one of the most dreaded things that they could ever do, and it's like so embarrassing, and like everyone's
judging
looking and judging, and like, it clearly happens to the best throwers in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not something to be, ashamed about. You just get back on your feet and you just attack the next throw.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing. That's what she did. She attacked it. 3 throws over 77. Didn't matter. With a huge win. Now,
how about this guy?
This is huge. 66-26. Turner Washington on fire, both events. I like this throw quite a bit. Man,
He even has a little room at the front.
Yeah, the stadium there
Easy save.
looks awesome. So now he's the second American to hit the standard. Sam Mattis is the first. Mason Finley's going to be opening up this weekend, so we'll see what kind of shape he's in. I'm assuming good.
I mean, I think the scary thing about Turner is that I feel like there's no end in sight right now of what he's, capable of. Obviously, he's young and he just has even this year, I think we're going to see a lot more from him.
I have a feeling like Turner, and I know maybe I'll share this off camera. He's just a savage, and he like scares me how good he is.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're heading into Lawrence Okoye. Comes back from 6 or 7 years in the NFL. Comes back 65-21 to open his discus season with that sweet nod with a little hop forward. Just wow.
That's huge.
So now we've got another player, and I think, I'm not positive, but I think Ultimate Training Systems is Zane. Starts with a D. I think he went to TCU. He was a pretty good. He had good rotational technique in the shot, but I think that's who's working with a couple different guys now. I think he's actually coaching Nick Percy now too.
Huh. Yeah, he's creeping up on that standard though. So
you notice he sweeps a little bit more narrow with that right leg out of the back. Okoye keeps that
That's
right
true.
a little bit tighter.
Yeah. So here's another young thrower who is just
And he's
breaking
Chilean.
out.
I think he's Chilean.
Claudio Romero, 64-39, another big PR.
That's a huge throw.
true freshman. No, not a true freshman. He's a freshman, but still massive.
That's just, and that's nice, and we got guys going down to UVA this weekend. I hope they can compete with Claudio and Jordan Young and Maria. Everybody down there is it's another great group, and Jacob Lemon's down there, great group at UVA.
I do like in his throw how he uses the circle. He almost uses the lip of the circle as a toe board in the front a little bit. I think that's...
You notice he opens his left arm and then he holds it there. He holds it directly straight back here in the middle. Watch when he's in the middle to the left going to the front, he holds that left arm a little bit. That just looks nice.
Yeah.
That's a toss.
Yeah, that's a big throw.
Now, I wonder what their school record is. UVA and a discus.
I don't know.
Philippe would have that, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so now we're getting into our own thrower, CeCe Onyekwe, dropping a monster bomb of 63-30. So I was at a Little League baseball game, and she's FaceTiming me. I'm like, why is CeCe FaceTiming me? Oh, maybe she's throwing. So I hold up my phone, and she's like, Dane, I just PR'd. I'm like, what did you throw? 63-30. And I'm like, what the heck? And she's like, that's why I FaceTimed you. I wanted to see what you would do. But this is just, and you can hear, as when they read this,
I'm bummed I actually cut it by accident.
Okay.
And I read her post then and saw that she had a big celebration.
Yeah, she went nuts.
That.
So, this breaks the Nigerian record by almost 2 meters, and this was a 2-meter PR essentially, and now puts her high in the rankings heading into Tokyo. She's still 20 centimeters off the standard. This, in theory, should get her into the games, but she's got to keep plugging away and working towards that another big one. She might be going out to Mount Sac in 2 weeks, so.
Yeah.
She's in good shape, and she's doing a good job of making those technical corrections. And one thing that I think is cool, all the way back to summer of 2019, you can watch CeCe make progress on our technical analysis. Mm-hmm. We've been posting her 3 to 4 days a week on Throws University, so you can see where she's come from, 54, 55 meters to 61 to 63 meters, and see that progression and see how many analysis it took to get her to become a world-class, thrower. So pick up an analysis, head over to throwsuniversity.com. In the meantime, CeCe is an absolute animal.
Yeah, that's a massive throw.
Okay, so here's another guy, another dude, Josh Sriracha going 63-20, no wind. He's in good form too. I think he's another guy that could end up pushing close, 65 plus if everything's lining up well. He's starting to get his competitive legs under him, sort of what you were talking about earlier, where he opened up decently, and now he's really starting to figure everything out and his movement out, and he just had another kid too, so there was a little bit of a transition period. But 63-20, multiple guys in the U.S. discus now over 63 meters. Multiple Throws /garage strength throwers over 63 meters is also fun.
Yeah.
And you sit here watching Josh, and it's like Josh is another guy. Check out the throws analysis of Josh, and he's constantly trying to work on his technique. You can see it week by week by week over the last 3 to 4 years with him, and where he's come, to now throw 63-20. That's huge. Man, another one. Legend.
One on the lineup.
Yeah, another big throw. Legend Boyson Hayes, D3 discus thrower, D3 national runner-up. No one would have seen, this is a kid coming out of college that, he came up to train with us. He was little, could barely.
He was a dual sport athlete.
Played football. Could barely bench press 275. Mm-hmm. And I remember coaches saying to me, well, what are you going to think? What do you think that legend guy can actually do? But here we are, almost throwing 60 meters, and he's 25 years old. Give him a couple weeks here. I think he's going to start to surprise a lot of people in the U.S. because we're starting to see some maturity and that year paying off. That last year is starting to pay off. So 59.95 for legend. huge toss. He's looking to join the 60-meter ranks on the throws U group. And this is just a great throw. He over-rotates here a little bit, and that forces him to come up a little early on the finish, but he corrects that. He corrects his left side in the middle, and all of a sudden we got another 2 meters.
I think this is a spark for Legend. Like, this is like that realization moment that I can do it. I'm running with the big guys, and it's
I
just
can make the
go
trials
from here.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. If he can make the trials this year, that's huge, huge. And another guy, go back the last 3 years, watch how many technical analysis he's done, and now he's going to end up being somebody big.
Out of D3.
Yep, out of D3, out of Trevor's homeland. So getting into the Javelin, Johannes Vetter had 91.50 opener, which is stupid far for an opener. I don't know what to say other than 91.50 is absurd, and the facility is sweet. Trevor has promised that Throws U will privately fund a facility like this for Garage Strength, so we can get everybody to come train at Garage Strength with a facility like this for discus and shot.
And maybe Javelin too. I don't know. Maybe we'll get some.
No.
I think the cool thing is, I forget where he said it. I think he's had like 5 years over 91 meters.
Oh wow.
Or something like that.
Jeez.
I think I read that somewhere, but that's over 90 meters.
Okay.
So that's absurd.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, so heading into the collegiate, women's collegiate ranks. Adeline, so this is the indoor national champ in the women's shot, and she goes 18.29. Is this at Jesse Owens?
It's Ohio State.
Oh no, it's at Illinois. They had it was like a Big Ten tournament, I think.
Okay. Wet circle.
Yeah, wet circle. Does look like a new circle, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think it's cool too to see, like, I don't know, she's had a couple meets and she hit that big mark in indoors and probably went back into some heavier training.
Yeah.
But it took like a little bit of time to work up back up to another PR.
Right.
And I think like that's like a very almost well planned progression, going into the outdoor season. But I feel like some throwers might hit a big throw indoors, and then in outdoors they're not thrown far right away, and they think everything's messed up. But
I think there's a transition to the concrete circle, and there's just a training block.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Trevor. The CDC just released that information about masks outside with if you're vaccinated. Do you think people are going to be wearing masks like this? I guess it'll be personal choice, really.
Yeah. But yeah,
I was just thinking about that.
I feel like it might get to the point where it's not required. So
yeah, not that it really matters because she's PRing with a mask on. So
right.
everybody who complains about wearing masks should take note of this and shut your face.
Yeah. How much is it just me, or does she look her technique look a lot like Kovacs? That high right going into the
leg,
middle.
yeah, just
that
wham
left
it down.
arm, stiff left arm holding in the middle.
She flexes her elbow more than he does.
Yeah.
Wait, let me watch her left leg, left foot. Left arm out of the back, right leg out of the back.
Right leg especially out of the back.
Left foot's almost the exact height, maybe slightly higher than Joe's, but I think the technique works.
Hey, it's a good model.
Yeah. Okay, so Sam Nenegg went out and went 18-17. This is 2 weeks ago. This is the same meet where Turner Washington went big. Look at the circle. Rachel's mentioned it was a little slick when it got wet.
Huh.
You see how it's worn down there?
Spots,
yeah, that's brand new.
Interesting.
Pretty sure those are brand new circles.
I wonder if that's like
did they wash
that it was drying from a rain, or if it's actually worn there.
Why don't they just come to our place and mimic our circles? Like, our circles are the best circles in the world. I'm just watching. So she sort of keeps that left stiff out of the back. She doesn't open as much as Adelaide does.
She gets that right real wide, though, especially even out the back of the circle a little bit. It's wide out the back and then carries around.
This is a weekend I had a nice long talk with her high school coach, Joe Frontier, one of the best high school coaches in the U.S.
Absolutely.
He's had a whole bunch of studs coming out of Wisconsin. We actually talked about, he said she was in phenomenal shape. Yeah.
I think it's cool too, like, we saw we saw the big meet with all the professional women, and yet here we are with all these collegiate throwers throwing over 18 meters as
Right.
well. So it's going to be, the trials are going to be stacked. That's for sure.
Yeah, men and women.
Yeah.
Shot and disc.
Nope. Hammer.
Okay, so now we're getting into. I think this is Mina de Klerk. So she's a South African under 20. This is the world lead. This is 17.25, non-reverse, just transfers into that left side. I don't think she's even that big of a girl. Like I don't think she's that tall.
Yeah.
But she murders that finish, man. She just comes through that. What would you do? What do you think? So let's say she's, 17, 18 years old. Do you transition her to a spin? What do you do?
That's tough. I mean, I feel like whenever we, at least with our high schoolers, have that discussion of the spin or the glide, it's like you got to have them try it. Like, I think it's at least worth trying, and some people will pick it up really quickly, and some people they might just not move well with it.
I can't tell, but I almost think she comes off her toe.
Out of
the back.
Right.
Like gong.
Yeah, at least either a flat foot or off the toe.
And this is where Joe and I in that conversation were talking about, you coach such consistent technical themes, and then you have this and gong coming off their toe, and you're like, well, what the heck is my model really good? And it's like, dude, all this stuff works for everybody. It's just getting the reps and getting comfortable with it.
And that's where I think, it's like, people are developed with different models. Everyone moves differently, and different things are going to work for different people. But
I would have her transition and just say, like, all right, for 3 months, we're going to see if we can get you to throw past your standing throw. But at the same time, knowing she could probably get back to this rapidly.
Right.
And
I don't know if she throws discus at all, but sometimes that can be a good indication if they're a good discus thrower.
True. Very true. Chubby Diamonds, Nick Ponzio. I think this is still a season best, 21-28. I like his right side through the middle.
Yeah.
And he's wired. He's so wired. He's on. Threw well this weekend as well at Drake. Went like 21-15, I think. I think this is at Azusa Pacific. Turns on it well.
Yeah. He's got pretty consistent technique. I feel like
I agree.
He hits, even watching, like Ryan posts training videos like we do on his channel. It's cool to see how these throwers, these professional throwers are looking, day to day. Like, there's no secrets. They're out there training. They're out there,
small detail over and over and over again.
But it's cool to see. I think especially, he has a lot of consistency.
I still want to see, is he going to be with the U.S. or is he going to be with Italy?
That's the big question.
Because this weekend his flag was the U.S.
Really?
I told Timmy Cat I think he's going to. I just feel like he's going to go to the trials.
I don't know.
Okay, so here's Mustafa Hassan, who's an NCAA indoor champ, like 2015, hitting a PB 21. I think this is a PR. It might be wrong, but 21-15. This is the Olympic standard. He's an Egyptian thrower.
I don't think it's his PR.
Okay.
But it
no,
is
you're right, because I think he went like 21-30 plus. And he also throws with Ryan, so this is a huge toss. Another guy, Ryan's got like 19 21-meter throwers. Plus, Durrell just went 21-77 this weekend at Chula Vista. Yeah, huge.
We should have put him in Krauser. And Krauser went 21.
90. Yeah, both those guys we should have put in.
High, yeah.
Sorry, throwing community. But those guys get a lot of love
all the time.
We'll
get plenty of we'll see them with plenty.
This is great for him hitting the standard. Now that should, get him to go to Tokyo and clean that up, and he's got good speed. I feel like he's always been one of those guys that you don't realize how fast he is until you see him in person, and it's just like real quick.
Yeah.
And he hits it.
Yeah.
A great throw for him. Now head into, this is the real Bryce Foster. And Trevor and I were just discussing. So he was DMing us, just sort of talking about his technique a little, just discussing, hey, you know, I'm having some problems with some sector fouls and a discus. He was like, hey, well, what are you throwing? Like 210.
Casually. You know, I had a few throws around 210.
And then 71-1 in the shot. It's just watching him move. He moves pretty well. Maybe he over-rotates a hair. He could get his right down a little bit sooner, and that's going to give him a little more space to work at the front. But he is just an absolute. You know what's crazy, too, is like his arms aren't like that muscular. But if you look at his shoulders and his back.
Dude, his traps are
he's got to be one of those kids. I swear he's got to be a kid that can power clean 400 pounds. Like,
probably.
If Nicholas can clean 360, this kid can clean 405.
Yeah, no doubt. But
who wins? Bryce Foster playing D tackle versus Nick Singleton.
I wouldn't want to run into either of them. That's a massive throw, though.
Yeah, that's great.
71 feet.
That's awesome.
6 foot PR.
Dude, that's crazy.
How many people have 6 foot PRs from 65 to 71?
So what happens now? Like, this kid could throw 75 feet outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's great.
That's big.
And then finally, we're getting into, we had a personal submission. I think this kid's name is Kaden, I believe.
Yeah.
We had, said to everybody, if you hashtag throw show, okay, if you hashtag throw show and DM us, and then we'll go check out your page, and if you've got the hashtag for throw show and we like it, we're going to pick a male and a female to feature on our next throw show. So that this is a personal submission from Kaden, 61-10.
That's a big throw.
Yeah, that's a huge throw.
That's massive.
It's further than Trevor threw in high school.
I think almost every high schooler we put up here would be further than me.
I like his right leg there, out of the back. It's funny because I think he could accelerate a little bit more through the finish, but where's he throwing this? It looks cold wherever he is because you can see in the trees there's no leaves.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evergreens, so it's probably like Minnesota.
The nature senses coming out.
Yeah, it's like somewhere cold is where he's throwing this. So this whole week has just been phenomenal with big monster bombs. I'm excited for this coming weekend. There's a lot of guys going down to UVA. There's a lot of big meets happening throughout the U.S. We're going to be hosting some more meets here at Garage Strength over the next couple weeks as well. Tucson's coming up at the end of May. Ironwood's got some big meets. Mount Sac's got some big meets. So it's really, before we know it, we're going to be doing a throw show leading into the Olympic trials. And I think, it's cool to see everybody really getting their feet under them. And I really think, hey, if you are a high school thrower and you want to get featured on the throw show, put in that hashtag throw show, tag us, send us a DM. We'll go check it out. We'll pick the two that we like the best and feature it here. And in the meantime, pick up a technical analysis. You could be the next Josh Sriracha. You could be the next Legend Boyson Hayes, the next CeCe. Dropping huge PRs and chipping away at becoming one of those elite world-class throwers. Turner Washington, Jason reminds me of Gable Stevenson.
He's going to go into the WWE.
No, yeah, he's so good.